You're listening to From Stillness, an audiobook for a mind in need of quiet. There's something sacred about the first few moments of your day. Before the world speaks to you, before notifications light up your screen, before your mind has the chance to remember everything it hasn't finished yet. But for most of us, those moments are swallowed whole, replaced by autopilot. You wake up, not with presence, but with panic. Not with softness, but with stimulation. Your eyes barely open before your thoughts begin racing, your phone is in your hand, and your nervous system is already on high alert. We don't rise, we react. And that simple habit, waking up in response to chaos instead of intention, quietly steals our peace. But what if your mornings could feel different? What if, instead of being dragged into the day, you gently arrived into it? Not rushing, not scrolling, just noticing. Noticing your breath. Noticing the stillness. Noticing that before the expectations, before the noise, there is a moment that belongs entirely to you. Waking with intention doesn't mean you have to be perfect or productive. It simply means choosing presence over panic. It means allowing yourself a pause, even if just for a few minutes, to remember who you are before the world tells you who to be. Because how you begin matters. Not in a motivational cliché way, but in a nervous system, heart-centered, identity-building kind of way. That brief transition from sleep to wakefulness is where your tone is set, and your story begins again. So tomorrow, when your alarm goes off, don't just reach for your phone. Reach for yourself, take a breath, place a hand on your chest, and remind yourself, I am here. I am enough. And I do not need to hurry to be whole. This is the foundation of a different kind of day. One rooted not in urgency, but in intention. The first sip of water in the morning isn't just a health habit, it's a homecoming. After hours of sleep, your body wakes not only with thoughts, but with thirst, gentle, quiet, often ignored. And yet, in that simple act of drinking water, you are meeting a need that says, I care for myself before the world asks anything of me. It sounds small, but small things hold power. Because this is where the reconnection begins, not in grand gestures, but in how you greet your own physical presence. Your body is not separate from your clarity, your energy, your peace. It is the house your mind lives in. And when you begin your day by acknowledging it, by offering it something pure and essential, you're building trust. You're saying, I haven't forgotten you. I'm listening. Water is more than hydration, it's rhythm, flow, movement. The same qualities you want from your day. And just as a river clears itself by staying in motion, so too does your body clear the residue of yesterday when you begin the day with this one nourishing act. So before coffee, before caffeine, before distraction, pause. Drink slowly, feel it. Let the coolness move through you like a gentle reminder that your life begins not on your screen, but in your cells. And maybe that's what we've forgotten in our rush to start the day. That the day had already started. In your breath, in your body, in your being. You just had to return to it. There's a moment each morning when you realize your thoughts have returned. They arrive slowly at first, the quiet hum of tasks, expectations, memories. Then, almost without warning, they multiply. Demands, decisions, doubts. The mind begins its usual dance. And you follow, not because you want to, but because you forgot you had a choice. But you do. You don't have to begin your day by thinking. You can begin with space. Stillness isn't something you earn after the day is over. It's something you can choose before the day begins. And in that quiet space before the mental engine revs up, you reclaim your power. You remember that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. This is where a morning practice of stillness, call it meditation, reflection, silence, becomes a lifeline. Not to become better, not to become more productive, but simply to reconnect, to feel yourself breathing, to feel the weight of your body on the earth, to listen not for answers, but for presence. Because most of what we chase, clarity, calm, confidence, does not come from thinking harder. It comes from thinking less. Or rather, from loosening our grip on thought long enough to hear something deeper underneath it. Stillness isn't empty. It's full of knowing. It's where you stop rehearsing and start remembering, where the noise softens just enough for truth to return. So before you rush into the narrative of the day, pause. Let your body breathe. Let your mind settle. And return for a few quiet minutes to the place within you that never needs fixing, proving, or improving. Only noticing. Only being. Stillness is where the mind returns to itself. But movement, gentle, intentional movement, is how the body joins the day. This isn't about punishment. It's not about earning your breakfast or chasing some ideal. It's about remembering that you live in a body that longs to feel awake. Not just mentally, but physically, tangibly, viscerally. When you stretch in the morning, arms reaching, spine lengthening, muscles awakening, it's not about exercise. It's about reconnection. It's about circulation, aliveness, energy flowing through you again after a night of stillness. And in this movement, you're not fixing anything. You're saying, I'm here. I'm alive. I choose to show up today from within this body, not despite it. So whether it's a gentle stretch, a short walk, a few minutes of yoga, or just rolling your shoulders and feeling the weight lift, move. Not to sculpt something, but to honor something. Because your body holds stories your mind forgets, tension, emotion, memory. Movement gives those stories a way to breathe out. And in return, your body gifts you with presence, with clarity, with a steady calm that caffeine alone can't manufacture. So don't think of morning movement as another task to complete. Think of it as a quiet ritual, a way to open the windows of your inner world and let life back in. Even just a few minutes will do. You're not rushing, you're returning. And that's more than enough. Once your body has arrived and your breath has settled, the day begins to ask its first question. What truly matters today? Not everything. Not everyone's expectations. Not the endless list waiting in your inbox. Just this. What do I intend to bring to this day? This is where most people get swept away. They open their phones, see 10 new demands, and lose themselves before they've even decided who they want to be. But there's a gentler way to begin, not with tasks, but with clarity. Setting intention isn't about micromanaging your every move. It's about choosing your posture toward the day. It's about deciding before life floods in what energy you want to carry with you. You might write one sentence. You might speak it softly to yourself as you stand by the window. You might say, "Today I choose to respond slowly." Or "Today I honor my energy." Or "I will move through today with steadiness, not urgency." The point isn't to control every outcome, it's to anchor yourself. So that no matter what the day brings, you're not just reacting, you're remembering. And from that remembering, you make better choices. You say no when it protects your peace. You say yes when it aligns with who you're becoming. You stay rooted, even when the noise gets loud. That's the gift of intention. It doesn't make life easier, it makes you clearer. And clarity, quiet, grounded clarity, is one of the most powerful ways to begin your day. Not with pressure, but with presence. Before the demands of the day take hold, before the messages, the headlines, the mental task list, there's a sacred pause available to you. A quiet breath, a soft shift in focus where you choose to start not with pressure but with perspective. Gratitude doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't have to be dramatic or poetic or perfect. It simply needs to be real. And real gratitude isn't forced, it's noticed. It's a moment of recognition. I'm here. I'm alive. I have this breath, this moment, this chance. When you begin your morning by acknowledging what's already working, you interrupt the default tendency of the mind to search for lack, for flaws, for what's missing. You gently rewire your awareness to see what's present, and that single shift can color your entire day. It might be the warmth of your tea, the quiet comfort of your bed, the sunlight filtering through the curtain, or the simple fact that you get another day to try, to grow, to be. Gratitude grounds you, not as a task to tick off, but as a return to enoughness, to wholeness, to presence. Because gratitude isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about remembering that life is already here, happening, unfolding, and that you don't need to wait for something extraordinary to feel connected to it. And when you practice gratitude regularly, not as performance but as presence, something deep inside begins to soften. The chase quiets. The comparison fades. And in its place, a steadiness grows, not built on external outcomes, but internal truth. Let this be your anchor each morning before you chase more. Remember what already is. Gratitude doesn't slow you down. It brings you home so you can begin the day from enough, not from emptiness. Before the outside world floods in, with its updates, its demands, its distractions, you have a brief, precious window to protect your inner space. And how you spend that window will shape more than just your mood. It will shape your clarity, your energy, and your ability to stay anchored in what matters. Most of us don't realize how quickly we lose ourselves each morning. A glance at the phone, a quick scroll, a message that pulls us out of our presence and into someone else's urgency. Without even noticing, we hand over the most sacred part of the day, our stillness, to noise that doesn't deserve it. That's why the first moments of your morning are not just a habit. They're a boundary, a decision, a quiet declaration that your peace is not up for grabs. Clearing the noise doesn't mean avoiding responsibility or pretending life doesn't ask things of you. It means giving yourself enough space to respond instead of react. It means deciding what energy enters your system and when. Let your morning be a buffer. Delay the scroll. Pause before the inbox. Choose intention before interaction. Even 10 minutes of quiet presence before engaging with the digital world can change the rhythm of your entire day. Because your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real emergency and a fast-paced feed of updates and opinions. But it does know when you've been rushed, overwhelmed, and pulled in too many directions before you've even taken a full breath. So protect the peace that morning offers. Don't let the noise set the tone. Set it yourself with gentleness, clarity, and care. Because once you learn to meet the day from stillness, you stop being at the mercy of its chaos. The way you feed yourself in the morning isn't just a nutritional choice, it's a signal. A message from you to your body that says, I'm here, I care, I'm paying attention. Too often, breakfast becomes background noise. Something grabbed in a rush, eaten while distracted, or skipped altogether. But how you begin nourishing yourself sets a rhythm. And that rhythm becomes your energy, your focus, your mood, whether you realize it or not. Eating with intention doesn't mean you need a perfect diet or a gourmet ritual. It means you pause, you choose, you notice. You treat the act of feeding yourself as an act of self-respect. Because your body is not just a machine to keep running. It's your vessel for presence. And when you eat with awareness, when you take even a few minutes to chew slowly, to notice flavors, to breathe between bites, you're not just fueling your body, you're grounding your mind. This small act, done quietly and consciously, becomes a morning meditation. A moment to connect, to slow down, to honor the life force within you. In a world that demands speed and multitasking, eating with presence becomes a quiet rebellion. A way of saying, I refuse to rush through my own nourishment. And here's the truth. How you treat your body is how you treat your day. If you approach your morning with care, your day will carry that care with it. If you start by listening to what your body truly needs, not what's convenient, not what's numbing, you build a relationship of trust with yourself. So don't skip it. Don't rush it. Let your first nourishment of the day be one of intention, not impulse. Your body will thank you, and so will your mind. We often think of journaling as another task, a place to write to-do lists, track goals, or plan the day ahead. But what if instead your journal became a place to listen? Not to the noise of obligation, but to the quiet voice underneath. The part of you that rarely gets space to speak yet always has something to say. When you journal each morning, not to perform but to understand, something powerful happens. You begin to meet yourself, not the version others see, not the one trying to hold it all together, but the honest one, the tired one, the hopeful one, the one who still believes in something deeper. This is not about writing beautifully. It's not about structure or format. It's about presence. You put pen to paper or fingers to keys, and instead of directing your thoughts, you let them unfold. What's here, right now? What am I avoiding? What do I need that I haven't admitted? Journaling in this way is like clearing emotional fog. It gives shape to things that feel heavy. It softens the tightness in your chest that you couldn't quite name. It turns swirling thoughts into sentences, and in doing so, offers relief. And often, clarity emerges, not because you forced it, but because you gave it space. So don't treat your journal like a checklist. Treat it like a mirror. A quiet place where your truth is always welcome. Some days it will be messy. Other days, clear. But every time you show up with honesty, you build trust with yourself. Because when you begin your day by listening to your inner world, you're far less likely to lose yourself in the noise of the outer one. No matter how well you plan your morning, the day will eventually surprise you. A delay, a disruption, a piece of news you weren't expecting. And in that moment, when something throws you off course, you'll face a choice. Will you meet it with tension, or will you return to stillness? Because the truth is, no morning routine, no matter how perfect, can protect you from life. But it can prepare you for it. It can root you deeply enough that when the winds shift, you sway instead of snap. You respond instead of react. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the practice of imagining what might go wrong, not to invite worry, but to build resilience. To remember that life's unpredictability is not a threat. It's part of the path. Stillness doesn't mean avoiding the storm. It means knowing where your center is when the storm arrives. And that center is cultivated in small choices. In waking with presence. In drinking water slowly. In breathing through silence. In writing your thoughts instead of bottling them up. In building a morning not to control the world, but to better meet it, however it comes. So, when the day doesn't go to plan, when someone disappoints you, when plans fall through, when your energy dips, pause. Return to your breath, to your body, to your awareness. Remind yourself you're not behind. You're not broken. You're just alive in an unscripted world. The real strength isn't in resisting surprise. It's in responding to it without losing yourself. That's the gift of a morning well lived. Not perfection, but preparation. Not control, but clarity. You may not be able to shape everything that comes your way, but with presence, you can shape how you meet it. And that, quietly, consistently, compassionately, changes everything.